Hi, I'm at the Comic Guy, and yes, I'm talking about Five Nights at Freddy's and explaining about the main series and how all the entire main series games of answering unsolved mysteries, that all of them never answer the question of their unsolved lore. From FNAF 1 having a few of them, trying to figure out whether or not they can be solved. From FNAF 2 having more of them, yet still has us figuring out what is going on with certain characters. From FNAF 3's time jump after FNAF 1 to have in between years and not explain much of why we never even figure out whether or not there was events that happened in between those years. From FNAF 4, giving us Fredbear's Family Diary and mini games, but yet not explaining what other events in Fredbear's Family Diary had happened before the game take place. From sister location, confusing the timeline of not explaining us what year it takes place, to the fact that not figuring out what is much is going on. From pizzeria simulators, often in a confusing way of not figuring out what's going on, while also having enough questions to be answered about the game. From the standalone releases, Help Wanted and Security Breach, give us a bit more questions than answers, and still having their own unsolved mysteries. So yeah, I was wondering, why is that? Why is the main series not answering all their questions that must not be answered? Well, one, it wouldn't make sense if the games themselves had answered these questions, and two, that would be much more saving for other standalone games that help us explain all those questions. So tell me, how do you feel about all this? Well, I don't know. I believe the worst affected all of this, the worst one that's affected of all this is FNAF 4, followed by FNAF 1, FNAF 2, Sister Location. These two releases, Help Wanted, Security Breach, and FNAF 3, with the least one I think is least affected all of this is Pizzeria Simulator. So, yeah. But today, we're not going to explain about the unsolved mysteries. Already did theories about that. Today, we're going to explain the details of the main series and how people don't even know of why they're there, and how people started to ignore it when really they mostly shouldn't. This is 5 nights that no one actually entirely remembers. So today we're starting part 1 with FNAF 1. And today we're starting out with what the phone guy explains in the first night. He said that he worked in the office, the FNAF 1 office, before the player. This means that he was one of the early security guards in the game series. But that's not all. It's the year of FNAF where FNAF 1 takes place that many people don't even know about, not even MacPats. Here's the thing though, the FNAF 1 player has, in his minimum wage, has earned $100-something, which confirms that that's more like 90s money, making confirm it takes place in 1993. That it's saying that the FNAF 1 version, the FNAF 1 pizzeria in the FNAF AR emails, yes, special delivery has emails, explain that the FNAF 1 restaurant was open by 1988 to 1993, making it confirm that FNAF 1 takes place in 1993. And that the phone guy has been saying that the animatronics have been that the FNAF 1 animatronics have been performing on stage for 20 years. 1993 minus 20 is 1973. Meaning that the FNAF 1 restaurant was open like a decade before Fazbear Entertainment was actually made, which was 10 years in 1983. And the final thing that people don't even notice about in FNAF 1 is that phone guy's phone calls were actually pre-recorded messages, as he just said. Right after he was, you know what happened. Fun fact, the messages after phone guy, in night 5, is actually a copy of Yagi of Yogi. And it ends with saying, the joy of creative service. This is obviously talking about that joy creation later down the line would be a thing. This one pointing out that fun fact. And now, tomorrow, I'll explain about FNAF 2, and now many people have missed a couple other details about FNAF 2, but more of them. And that will be explained in tomorrow. Bye.